let's talk about this. So fall camp update scrimmage. The scrimmage was Saturday. The word that has come out from multiple sources is that the offense was behind the defense, which I'm not shocked by, but really only Ryan Wingo stood out on the offensive side of the ball, as well as I will say, CJ Baxter, it looks like he downgraded knee brace wise. The brace does look smaller. He did play or get hit a little bit in the scrimmage. They went with a really quick whistle, which makes sense. I think that was a lot to build confidence as well, because guys, this is a serious injury you're coming back from. Got to have him right mentally. So does it worry you right now, Gerald, that the defense is trending better than the offense?
Not in the slightest bit. Honestly, I would be worried if I heard that the offense was well ahead of the defense, because I frankly think, like, and this is probably the Texas hubris coming through, I think this defense might be one of the best 5 units that they face all year, right? I think this is going to be one of the top units in the country. Once again, I've heard really good things about how well the defensive line played. And again, Texas's offensive line needs to kind of gel and come together. We knew some of that, but I think from what, from the vibes that I'm getting, the conversations I'm having, like, it seems like the defense is just that good. And ultimately, this is going to be one of the better, like, when Texas goes good on good, this is going to be one of the best defenses that offense faces all year long. And so ultimately, like, I think that's a good sign, right? If they came out like the offense blew the doors off the defense, that'd have red flags going up for me, right? If the shoe was on the other foot, I'd feel much different about it. The defensive line is the strength of this team, and we knew that the offensive line for Texas had some questions. Despite the struggles there, Arch had a touchdown pass, couple touchdown passes there. So, like, I feel okay with it. I think we knew what this team is going to be. It's why I've been saying, beating the drum, like, I think this Ohio State game is going to be a low scoring affair. I think that 3-point margin, that 2.5-point margin, is going to be like a 24-21, or even a like a 20-17 kind of situation, something really, really tight, really low scoring. And ultimately, I think that vibes. If we're hearing similar things in the last week of the season, then I have a lot more concerns about the offense. But ultimately, I don't feel any sort of bad way about how the defense being better than the offense at this point.
No, I completely agree. I was actually on the Florida show yesterday breaking down that, so we'll have a couple of videos out for you guys talking about the Florida game. And they were asking about that as well. And I said, this might be the best defense Arch Manning plays all year. He might be playing the best defensive practice that he plays all year, and that's a good thing. We actually heard that a ton. Like, if you listen to old Alabama players talk, guys, they always said, we were never worried about games because we were going against the best opponent in practice. Like, the defense said, we're playing the best offense we're going to face, and the offense said, we're playing the best defense we're going to face. And I think we're pretty close to that point of, is there a better defense Arch Manning will face this year? And my answer to that is probably only the first game of the season. I think there's a possibility Ohio State is as good as Texas defensively, but that's it. Like, I don't think any other team, maybe Oklahoma, but I think on the back end, we're better than Oklahoma. Defensive line, I think, pretty comparable, but I just think this is a really good defense, and I completely agree. We both said low scoring. Ohio State guys agreed with us when we did that show, and I still stand by that because I've heard the same thing from Ohio State. Their offense isn't where it needs to be, and I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to take 4 to 5 weeks for these teams to get into that second gear, third gear, and it is what it is. Our defense is good enough to win football games by itself right now. It just is. I mean, you have Colin Simmons, you have Anthony Hill, you have someone like Murad Watson that's getting rave reviews out of camp, and I'm not surprised because he was a freshman All-American. He's going to be a really good player for Texas. I think Alex January, a guy that I think is going to break out this year. I've loved him since he stepped on campus. I think he's going to be a household name at the end of this year. And then everything I'm reading, Malik Muhammad seems to be treating this as he should, as a contract year, and doing really well. Jalen Gilbo has, I haven't heard anything of, hey, maybe he can't play outside corner, which tells me he's doing a really good job. They aren't talking about sliding him back in. So I think he's kind of sealed up that job on the outside. That's a really good sign. Michael Taft looks really good in these practices as well, also sliding down to nickel. I think this team can be better defensively than it was last year. And that team last year defensively was one of the best Texas defenses of the 21st century. Since 2000, I think it's probably one of the 2 or 3 best defenses we've had.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put it like above like 05. Like that 05 defense is an all-time great defense in college football, period, right? I could wax poetic all night about how good that 05 defense was, and compare it to like the Miami legendary defenses too. But ultimately, like I said, the Texas defense is going to be really stinking good, right? And they're going to keep Texas competitive. And that's one of the things that I think puts Texas in an enviable position as the offense. starts to get rhythm, as the offensive line starts to get cohesion, starts to get some of that unity that you need to be successful at that spot, like the defense can keep you afloat. The defense is good enough to keep you in games, to win you games, to keep scores low, right? That is one of the unsung heroes of a lot of really good teams, that as their offense gets going, the defense is good enough. And defense wins championships is a cliche for a reason, right? I think we are in an offensive skewed league, an offensive skewed game right now, but ultimately Texas lost because the Ohio State defense made a couple more plays. Texas had a bad defensive breakdown end of the first half. Ohio State had a massive defensive play end of the second half, right? We think about offense is what gets all the shine and all of the accolades, but ultimately when push comes to shove, defense still wins championships. And this Texas defense can be really stinking good. I think the floor for this unit is really high. I think the ceiling, like you said, is one of the best we've seen in probably 20 years.
Eyes of Texas, we really appreciate that. Please hit that like button. Please
We love you
subscribe
too.
down below. Yeah, and share this out with as many Texas fans as you know. Boyd, do you guys think Texas will need to win the game against Ohio State to push a fight for? No, I don't think we need to. Now, I will say this: the winner of this game to me is basically all but locked into the playoffs. Like, it's really hard for me to believe the winner of this game doesn't make the college football playoffs. So it is very important with that, because then that gives you. I know it sounds terrible talking about losing in sports and not caring as much, but guess what? If you win this game, Texas can lose 2 games out of the final 11 and still make the playoff. That'd be nice to have in the back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, the win obviously is a feather in your cap, especially Texas going on the road, hostile environment, big non-conference win. This is part of why I think, like, folks that are fans of the expanded playoff, losing this game doesn't kill you in the playoff hopes, right? So it encourages teams to schedule these types of non-conference games, because you can go and have this massive matchup to kick off the year, and it doesn't have that negative impact, as big of an impact on your chances to make the playoff, right? Because if Texas loses this game and they go on and they're competitive in the SEC, they're in the SEC championship conversation at the end of the year, they're in a prime position for a playoff spot, right? And it's all coach speak, right? And coaches always say, like, our top priority is winning their conference or being competitive in their conference. And so ultimately, like, for Texas, being competitive in the SEC, winning the SEC is also a guaranteed path to the college football playoff. So, like, no, I don't necessarily think that they have to win this game. Now, do I want them to go into Columbus and absolutely wipe the floor with these dudes? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Jury's still out. I think it's going to be a very close matchup. I don't have a read on it. Obviously, I'm wearing burnt orange. I've got the diploma in the background, so I know what I want to happen. But ultimately, do I think Texas needs this to fight for a playoff spot? No, I don't.
No, I agree. Let's talk about this as well. So I brought up the CJ Baxter thing. Do you think this is a combination of these two things? They want to build him up, mentally to, let him know you can take these hits, you'll be fine. Or do you truly think, like, he's going to be on track and be 90% by the start of the season? Or do you think it's a mix of the two?
I think it's probably a mix of the two. I mean, when it comes to knee injuries like this, you have to be confident. And the way he plays, you have to be able to push off that knee and make a cut and run. And so I think they have to get him into speed and into rhythm and able to feel like he can push off that. Because if you play timid, you're going to not only play poorly, but you're going to get hurt again, right? So, like, you have to build up that confidence in the knee. You have to build that confidence in the explosiveness. You have to build confidence in your ability to push off and punish somebody. But I also think, like, why have him take unnecessary contact if he doesn't need it, right? Why have him take those bumps and bruises in a preseason where I think you're going to need him throughout the season if you're really going to reach your goals and achieve what you've got? So I think it's probably a combination of the two. It's probably a little bit of helping him stay healthy for the year. Again, you don't need to take unnecessary bumps early in the season if you don't have to. It's going to be Texas plans on playing past December, right? That's for Texas. We're 5 months out for where Texas hopes their season ends. So ultimately, like, why have him take unnecessary hits coming off of an injury if you don't need to?
No, I agree. And my thing isn't with him, like, bearing weight with people on top of him or anything. It's more of cutting. Like, how is his agility side to side and everything like that? That's my biggest concern with him. And I hope he is, like, super close. I hope this was like a breakthrough and he's going to be way more healthy than I think he's going to be. Because I said last show, I don't think he's truly going to be close to 100% till like week 5 or 6. If he's 90% week 1, guys, this team becomes a whole different team. It really does. Like, he's a really big piece of this puzzle. He was last year. If this team had him last year, we're probably talking about, possibly being the national champion. That's how big of a piece he is to this puzzle. So it'd be really big to have him straight off week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the butterfly effect of like the way the Ohio State game ended, right? Texas probably doesn't have to call a toss play if you've got your 220-something pound running back in there that can try to push it in between the tackles. So, like, ultimately, I think you're right. Like, this is a linchpin. If he's good week 1, I feel a lot differently about Texas going into Ohio State. I really do.
No, I do as well. So that was the fall camp update and scrimmage update. I think Texas is right where they need to be. I'm not super concerned about it. Void says, yeah, I hear you. I'm just saying that because we also have Georgia, Florida, A&M, and Oklahoma. No, I agree. It's a lot harder of a schedule than people make it out to be. I agree. Compared to SEC schedules, it's weaker, but it's still a top 12, 13, 14 schedule in the country for sure. I think we play 4 of the top 25 teams or 5 of the top 25 teams. So really hard schedule, way harder than anything we would have had if we stayed in the Big 12. But in those games, for example, there's 4 opponents right there. If you go 2-2 in those games and you beat Ohio State, you're in the playoff. Now, if you lose to Ohio State, you got to go 3-1 in those games. And that's, those are 4 pretty good teams that you have to face.
And I'm old enough to remember that there's a team in maroon that used to say that there are no easy schedules in the SEC when Texas would give them grief about playing the bottom tier of the SEC, right? There are no easy schedules in the SEC regardless, right? So ultimately, it's going to be tough, right? Again, will DJ Lagway be available for Florida is now a question I think everybody has. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. A&M's going to want blood in that one. OU's obviously going to be weird. Georgia is Georgia. Like you're absolutely right. I think there's there's a lot of, if things go sideways on Texas, it can go sideways really badly, really quickly. I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't either. And yeah, thing is with A&M, those glasses that they wear to see their team through, it's the same glasses they give you at a driving ed class where you look drunk. You just can't keep your head straight and walk in a straight line. So that's why I try not to pay attention to them, because they have some crazy things that they say. But again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. This is the 63rd edition of Texas Longhorns Live. And with the season